Hello everybody and welcome back to Sippin' Out. Today I'm making one of my all-time favorite comfort foods, meatball subs. Now I'm not Italian by birth, but definitely by heart, and after tasting my meatballs, you might just believe I was Italian in a past life. While you can absolutely use your favorite marinara sauce and rolls from the store, I'm going to show you how I make everything from scratch today. So let's get started. We're gonna start with what takes the longest, the rolls. If you've seen my French onion buns recently, you'll recognize the dough because it's the same exact recipe. It's easy, versatile, and hits that sweet spot between soft and chewy, which is ideal for holding all that saucy meatball goodness. To make the dough, add warm water, honey, Greek yogurt, yeast, olive oil, bread flour, and salt straight into the bowl of a stand mixer. You might notice I don't proof the yeast first, and that's because I almost never do, as long as my yeast is fresh. Just throw everything in and let the mixer knead on medium-high speed for about 10 to 12 minutes. Once the dough is smooth and elastic, cover the bowl and let it rise in a warm spot for 1 to 2 hours, or until it's doubled in size. This would be a perfect time to get working on the meatballs and the sauce, so if you're making everything on the same day, skip to the next segment and come back here when the dough is ready to be shaped. Once the dough has doubled, divide it into 10 equal pieces and shape them into balls. You're gonna let them rest briefly for 15 to 20 minutes under a damp towel. For this particular recipe, I'm gonna flatten each ball into a small oval, roll it up into a log, pinch the seams, and taper the ends just slightly. If the dough feels a little bit sticky, use a very small amount of bench flour. Place the logs seam side down on a parchment-lined baking sheet. For the final proofing, cover and let them rise again for about 45 minutes to an hour or until puffy. At this time, make sure to preheat the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Right before baking, use a very sharp knife to make a shallow slit along the top of each roll. Optionally, spray the tops with a little water and cover the entire sheet with another inverted baking sheet. This creates and traps the steam and helps the bread rise beautifully in the oven. Bake for 10 minutes covered, then another 10 to 12 minutes uncovered until golden brown. Moving on to the meatballs, start by finely dicing an onion and microwaving it with a tablespoon of butter for about 6 to 8 minutes. This softens and partially cooks the onions for better flavor and texture, but you can of course do this in a frying pan on the stove. Let that cool while you prep everything else such as garlic, fresh parsley, and of course the king of all cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano. And here is the list of all the ingredients. As always, the exact amounts are listed in the description box below. In a large mixing bowl, combine all of these ingredients and mix thoroughly until everything is well incorporated. And before you start rolling the meatballs, here's a little tip. Take a tiny amount of the meat mixture and microwave it for 30 seconds or so, or until fully cooked. This way, you can taste test and check for the seasoning before committing to the whole batch. If it tastes good to you, then it's time to form mini meatballs by gently rolling them in your hands. You should get about 50 meatballs this size from this recipe. Next, heat a skillet with a little oil and sear the meatballs in batches. You just want to get that beautiful brown crust on the outside, and they don't need to be fully cooked at this stage, so take them out of the pan as soon as they're browned. Finally, for the marinara sauce, chop some more onions and garlic, and grab some fresh basil and oregano if you have them growing in your garden. In the same pan that you cook the meatballs, add a bit more olive oil and sauté the onions over medium heat, about 5 minutes. Then add the garlic and cook for about 30 seconds before stirring in the tomato paste. Now you want to let it cook for a few minutes, as this key step will mellow out that raw tomato flavor. Next, add a splash of red wine, salt, and pepper, and cook until the wine has mostly evaporated. At this point, you can pour in your passata, and this is the one I'm using today. You can rinse out the jar with a bit of water and add that too. Finally, add the fresh herbs and let it simmer on low for 20 to 30 minutes. After all the flavors have melded together, taste and adjust the seasoning. I usually find that a little sugar helps balance the tartness, but some tomatoes are more acidic than others, so be sure to adjust to your liking. Once your sauce is perfectly seasoned, gently add the brown meatballs and cook for another 10 minutes or so, covered, until they're fully cooked through and juicy. Now for the fun and easy part, assembling our mini meatball subs. Slice each roll down in the center, toast them if you like, then stuff with your juicy meatballs. I like to add those cute mini mozzarella balls in the center, but you can of course melt a slice of provolone cheese instead to add another layer of flavor. Serve them warm with extra sauce on the side and watch them disappear in seconds. These mini meatball subs are the perfect blend of homemade comfort and crowd-pleasing flavor. They're easy to make ahead, freezer-friendly, and just as good reheated. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe for more bite-sized recipes made for entertaining. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.